Picture this. You're walking to your next class and you see somebody exhale a cloud of fruity smoke, and it smells sweet, it looks harmless, and it even looks kind of cool. But then what if I told you that that cloud is hurting teenage brains, damaging lungs, and hooking a generation on nicotine? Today, I'm here to persuade you that we should take action to prevent teen nicotine use. First, we're going to take a look at the problem. Then I'm going to tell you about some action we can take to prevent the problem. And finally, I'm going to tell you about what the future could look like if we implement these actions versus if we don't. Now let's jump into the problem. According to the CDC on October 17th, 2024, 1.63 million middle school and high school students in the US vape or use e-cigarettes. 87.6% of these are flavored, and over a quarter of them use them daily, which is what is causing the most harm. Now, this shows that vaping is not just a trend, it's actually something that's been happening increasingly over the decades. And that's the main problem, this massive growth that's been happening, especially recently, even in just the past 2 years. So one of the biggest issues, again, is that insane growth that's been happening. Now, another big issue, which a lot of people know about, is the health concerns. So many know about the damage it causes to brain development in young minds, but there is also, according to Numerous Kids Health on January 2024, it increases vaping and e-cigarette use, increases the risk of anxiety, depression, sleep disorders, and asthma, which a lot of people don't know about. Now, the use of these nicotine products is actually causing kids to inhale chemicals that are very harmful, which can be found in glue, weed killers, and paint, which are really, really bad for the body. And these are creating permanent damages, and these things can't be undone. Now that we've looked at the problem, let me tell you about some actions you can take to stop this problem from happening in the future. Now, one very easy thing, or that many people think is very easy, that we can do to prevent this in the future is open communication between teens and parents. Now, even just according to the MD Anderson Cancer Center on March 28th, 2025, if you talk early and often about these issues with vaping with kids from a young age, then it can help prevent it, and even it can help decrease it and even prevent it from happening in the future. If you really emphasize as a parent the fact that not a lot of kids actually do vape, then it will kind of release the peer pressure that kids feel when they realize that there isn't a peer pressure and there shouldn't be one. Another action that we can take to prevent teen vaping, nicotine, e-cigarette use is implementing programs in schools. Now, there are many schools that do have these programs, but it should be more widespread, or they should be better programs. There is a company called the Truth Initiative, and they basically work to spread the concerns, like teach people about the concerns of vaping mostly, and again, it's targeted towards teens. They did this in 2025, where they linked mental health issues to addiction, and it was showing a very direct correlation between the two. They spread this information about it, and they're basically telling everyone that these tobacco companies and these sweet flavored vapes and e-cigarettes are designed to hook young people into using them, even though they should not be, and legally should not be either. They have, the most important thing they have is a text-based program to help teens quit. So this is giving teens themselves, not just their parents, not just the public, it's giving it to them so that they can empower themselves into stopping vaping and encouraging others to stop vaping. First, we looked at the problem. Then I provided you with a few actions that we could take to solve this problem. Now, let me tell you what the future could look like if we implement this and if we don't. If we go down this current path, vaping and e-cigarette use among teens and young people in the US will be normalized more than it already has been. Now, this will cause long-term addiction, which will also cause long-term health issues that are irreversible. According to European Schools Project for Alcohol and Other Drugs, on May 28th, 2024, 40% of Irish 16-year-olds have tried vaping, and 15% of those used actively and continuously, which is the main issue with use. That's what causes the most damage. This again is just showing the normalization of e-cigarette and vaping use among teens, and the fact that it'll just get worse and worse in the future if we don't do something to put an end to it. What our future could look like if we do try to put these actions into place. According to the American Lung Association, on December 17th, 2024, the nicotine addiction and use in young teens is a specific health threat. And there are resources available to stop it. Resources like the things I talked about, like the Truth Initiative program, and implementing programs in school to just educate young minds about this issue. Implementing these stronger school programs and just having a better awareness of the harm that this causes will decrease the use of e-cigarettes and vaping among young people, and this can prevent the future that we talked about before, decreasing health and increasing addiction. Now, today I tried to persuade you that we should put more resources into stopping and preventing youth and teen vaping and nicotine use. So next time we looked at the problems, I told you about a few actions that we could take in order to stop this problem, and I told you about what the future could look like if we do implement these actions versus if we stop them. Now, again, imagine you're walking through that quad and you see somebody puff that cloud of smoke. Now, this time, you can stop, think about the harm that it's causing to the future and to young teens, and maybe you don't have to inform that person, but inform your friends, inform yourself. Don't use. And this can ultimately help the future of America. Thank you.